So hello everyone and welcome to episode 6. I am fortunate enough to be joined today by Joe Daccache. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. And we met, I saw you perform at the back corner. We met through Ben, and then I saw you at Brooks. I think I met you at Brooks' EP release show.
You met me at Ben's show.
Oh, yeah.
Because I opened for Ben,
right,
and that's
right,
where
right,
we
right,
met in
right,
the audience.
Right.
And then I saw you again at Brooks.
Right, okay.
And then we went to, where was it? We went to like some rooftop bar, LA Jackson.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I saw you on LA Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like I just always see you out when we're drinking.
Yeah, there you go.
And then when we're not out drinking, we're in drinking.
There you go, there you go.
Drinking. We can't stop drinking, us thirsty bastards. That's all we do.
Well, I'm Jake, that's Joe, and this is my mixtape. All right, Joe, so the first song you wanted to talk about is Leave, Get Out.
Leave, Get Out.
By
Did I
JoJo.
put the parentheses in there for you?
You did. I forgot to write it on there, so that was my mistake. But
Oh, who cares?
So tell us why you picked that song to start.
Okay,
off.
so when we first moved to America, me and my sister found JoJo on Radio Disney.
Amazing.
And like literally that's how we like used to like find music because we didn't have like a radio in a car. We literally just moved to America. We had no idea what anything was, but we'd sit on our like desktop computer at home, you know, like the 55-pound computer. And we found JoJo Get Out, and I remember literally listening to that for probably like a straight 6 months, and literally like we didn't know AZ lyrics existed.
Right.
So we literally like played the song, and we would pause the song every 2 seconds and write down the lyric. But it was back when like it wasn't YouTube, so you
Right.
couldn't just like rewind if you missed something. If you missed a lyric, you have to restart.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
If you missed a lyric, you have to restart the entire song.
Right, 100%.
And so we'd literally sit there for hours. We did it with that song, then we did it with Kelly Clarkson Breakaway.
Oh, wow.
But Leave Get Out was
Great
like
song.
my top choice.
So
I was like, oof.
were you fluent in English already when you moved back to
No,
the UK?
So I don't know how we even wrote the lyrics. We couldn't understand. How were we literate enough to write?
Because I think it's really cool that a lot of people learn English by listening to music. Like, learning it through the lyrics, I think is really cool.
That's how my parents learned English.
That's so cool.
Because like they grew up, it was like during the war in Lebanon. It was like the 80s,
Okay.
and so like literally they would just like have a guitar with them constantly, and they would be singing like.
Anyways.
So his first concert was the Beatles. Like
Cool,
literally,
okay.
like they grew up on English music.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do it with other music. Who is it? The Rose. I'm gonna like butcher this girl's name, but she like won a Grammy this year. Rosalia.
Oh, yeah.
For
Okay.
Huroke,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the song is. Like,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
listen
I
to that song so like often.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Huroke means.
Right.
But I'm literally like jamming with my windows down.
Right.
My windows, I drive that Vespa.
Well, I mean, the
like,
whole
literally
world-
with nothing down.
The whole world was singing Despacito and had no idea
Or
what the
Despacito,
hell they were
exactly.
saying,
Like
so.
it's all like melodies really are like a different like type of language and communication.
Absolutely. Music is a universal language.
I think we just came onto something.
There you go.
I don't think what we're saying has ever been said. You
So-
heard it here first. On Jake.
Were a boy, even just for a day.
So next up we have If I Were a Boy by Beyonce. Good track here. Really good
What a
music
good
video
song.
too.
It's
Really cool
an
music
amazing video.
Yeah.
It's amazing all around.
So what do you like about this song? What kind of stands out from this track that really kind of made an
I don't know.
impact
I
on
think
you?
like I like grew up. Everybody's like always like raved about Beyonce, but for some
Yeah.
reason I could never jump on the Beyonce train. I
Okay.
have no idea why. Like she's incredible, and now I finally like gotten on board.
Okay.
But If I Were a Boy just always stuck out to me.
Yeah.
It's just such a crazy song. Nothing like lyrically, because obviously I am a man. So it was nothing lyrically that I was like, oh my gosh, I totally relate. But like, oh, it's just such a good song and the melody and everything.
Yeah.
And I actually like tried to cover it one time. I was like, I can't say If I Were a Boy.
Yeah.
So I literally put this YouTube cover on. You can't find it anywhere because I took it down. But I'm literally like sitting at the piano at like 16 years old. And I get to the chorus and it goes, because I'm a boy. It was so bad.
I think one of my favorite parts about this song is how like it shows her vocal range because she sings so low.
Yeah.
Like she has such a like wide reach for her vocals and like the octaves that she can.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
She definitely does it in that one.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's like
that's,
in the
I think that's a really good
pre-chorus area.
showcase for how talented.
She also does it in Halo.
Right.
And the what does that note mean? Dakota talks about it all the time. And it didn't even make sound.
Right.
She hits this note that's like 6 feet under.
Right. No, I completely. That's probably my favorite Beyonce song, honestly.
Halo.
But
Man,
if I were a boy.
fucked up. Damn it. Scratch
If I
that.
Were a Boy
Redo
is good, too.
everything.
So next we have I Bet by Sierra. Wow. That's a really good song.
We got some snapping over there. People agree with us.
Dakota approves.
What is it? I Bet by Sierra?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah.
I love that song. I think that song taught me, like as a songwriter, it taught me the importance of rhythm. Because she goes, I can't remember the part of it. It's somewhere in the verses, but if you listen to the song, she like changes up like the way that she says things.
Yeah.
So like she'll like be talking like on, and then she just like quickly switches. I wish I could like explain this better what she does.
It's almost percussive the way that she sings.
Yes, exactly. And so it's like it really just catches you off guard. And it
Yeah.
literally took me forever studying that song to learn how to do that. But I was like, I want to be able to do that because it literally is like, it's kind of like, okay, if you listen to a song and someone says baby at the end of the line, like you for sure 100% know if it's an older song that they're gonna follow that up with crazy. Or head is followed up with bed. Like all of these like obvious rhymes. So it's kind of like when a rhyme isn't obvious and it's a slant rhyme, it's like, oh my gosh, I love that because I didn't expect it. And it's the same thing with this song. It's the rhythm rather than the lyric is what's unexpected.
Well, and that's what makes like a singer or vocalist special too, is because poetry is amazing in itself, but then the way that you say it is a whole nother that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And that's what really makes the song special. And I think she does a great job.
What a
on
good
this
song.
track.
I love that song.
Be Without You by Mary J. Blige.
Oh, I literally, on my Vespa, I put my headphones in 24/7. I have that song on repeat. 24/7. It started with a different song, but I somewhat landed on, I listened to it's a playlist on Spotify, 2000s.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a very strong 2000 R&B vibe going on
Love
right
that
now,
shit.
and I dig it.
And it's so funny because like I grew up with my brother and my sister who were huge into, my sister was like huge into like R&B and like hip hop, and so was my brother, but like I was more so like Ali and AJ.
Yeah.
So I never really like clicked with the songs until
Yeah.
I was probably like 15.
Okay.
But like growing up, like they'd always been around me, but I never really like paid attention to it.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I like learned to appreciate them more.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I think once we dive into music and understand like how much work goes into a song, you definitely gain a deeper appreciation for everything.
Plus, I mean, you get a little bit older, and then it's kind of like when you're young, no one likes tofu when they're 10.
Right.
No one likes broccoli when they're 10. But you're 24 years old and you're sitting in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Nobody's eating Funyuns.
It hits a little different. Ain't No Way by Aretha Franklin. I appreciate this being from Michigan, so thank you for giving some Motown out there.
Yes, exactly. No, you're so right. Ain't No Way, that's like one of my favorites by her. It's actually one of the later ones that I discovered by Aretha. I started listening to her probably like just about 3.5 years ago. It's not even been that long.
Yeah, she's been around for a minute. You should check
Yeah,
her out.
I know, and I just learned Aretha Franklin. Like, I always knew who she was, and I always, like, respected her music, and, like, respect, obviously, always knew that song, like, her bigger ones, but, like, to actually, like, dive into Aretha and, like, study her musicianship and, like, everything that she's created, I didn't get into that until about 3.5 years ago.
Good.
No, but Ain't No Way was one of the ones that I discovered later, because I started, with just, like, the stuff that I knew, and then when I landed on that song, I heard it was a tribute to Aretha Franklin. I wish I remembered the person who did this tribute, but Jasmine Sullivan, one of my like all-time favorite singers, and I actually should have had her on here. Buster Windows, favorite song ever. But she was singing, maybe it was like Think by Aretha Franklin. You better think.
Yeah.
But then I like ended up watching the entire tribute, and I think Yolanda Adams was one of the people, and then there was someone else, I can't remember her name, but she did Ain't No Way, and I was like, what is the song?
Yeah.
Why have I never heard the song?
She's such a difficult artist to cover too, because like you think that you're going to be able to do it justice, but I think the one you're talking about, I think I've seen it, and she did a really good job of like painting.
Do you know who it was?
I don't know. I know the ceremony that you're talking about because I watched that, but I can't remember the artist who did it. But like, what I'm saying is she did a really good job of like paying homage and tribute to Aretha while making it like her own. So
yes. I totally agree.
Keeping with Disney Channel, we have Why Not by Hilary Duff.
Okay, so Mary J. Blige, I jammed to that song. I mean, I jammed to all these songs constantly on the Vespa, but Why Not, the minute I got my Vespa, first thing I did, I plugged my headphones in and I listened to Why Not for the first like 3 days on repeat.
It's such a jam.
From the Lizzie McGuire movie. I had to.
Yeah.
I had my helmet on. I literally imagined I was like Lizzie McGuire. I was like,
is that your Vespa right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
all right.
a Honda Metropolitan. It's so embarrassing when I like talk to someone who knows their
amazing.
bikes, because I'm like, yeah, my Vespa's right out there, and they look at it and like, oh yeah, that's a Honda Metropolitan, right? I'm like,
just posting up over there.
When I was talking about my Vespa, I literally drop a Honda.
So we have something special next up here. This is the first repeat song on this show. Kristen Simone also had Cinderella by Cheetah Girls.
Oh.
I asked her if it was because of like Raven Simone and Kristen Simone, if that was.
Oh, that anything. I should have also had Raven Simone on this.
But talk to us about
And
Cinderella.
Kristen Simone.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were asking like what songs to add to this list, originally I just kind of like figured, oh, what songs like mean the most to me, like what songs, like obviously the way that you wanted it.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it and I was like, wait, Joe, what about the songs that like before you really understood music?
Right.
That clicked with you.
Right.
And I was like, this was before I really got, before my 14, when I like started listening to all these other people on this list.
Yeah.
Cheetah Girls and Hilary Duff were like the people that like I was listening to when I was 9.
Right.
I was like, I have to pay.
Absolutely.
What is it? Menage? Is that the word?
Homage, yeah.
Homage?
Yeah.
I have to pay manage to these people.
HOMAJMAGE.
Oh, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
JAKE. That's all you gotta know. But I have to pay homage to these people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
And
we
I
all
still,
lose.
Adrienne is on The Real, the show The Real.
Yeah.
Watch her all the time. Gotta support my girls.
There you go.
My girls and my boys.
Keep it in the family. We have Potential Breakup Song by Allie and AJ.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, it's definitely.
What a song. You know they're on tour again?
I did not know that.
Yep.
That's
They have.
amazing.
I'm trying to remember the name of the tour. I actually emailed them. I was like, I want to jump on your tour. They never emailed me back.
I had the biggest crush.
Motherfuckers.
I had the biggest crush on Allie.
Allie?
growing up, Yeah.
Me too.
Huge crush on her.
Everybody thought AJ was a prettier one. I was like, nope, it's Allie.
I
I mean, they're both gorgeous
They're both
women.
gorgeous,
They
yeah.
are both gorgeous women. Like, they're getting political here.
but yeah.
Gorgeous women. All women are gorgeous.
So I mean, they have a lot of songs. Why'd you go with Potential Breakup Song? What was?
Wait, what are some of their other songs?
Well, I mean,
I can't even remember them.
yeah. I mean, I remember Cowbells, the movie.
Oh, when she slept through her day? I'm still mad about it. I'm still mad
That's
about that.
and I think that
She
that played,
slept through her day.
honestly that played a big role in my interest too. Is the Disney Channel original movies? Those were so big too. And
Yeah.
I watched a lot of them, but
Cowbells was such a good one.
it's so cool that that's how you kind of found English is through like music and movies. I think
I
that's really
so
cool.
literally I learned English watching Liz McGuire.
Really.
Like literally when we moved to America, we learned it through song and stuff like that, but we
Yeah.
also learned it watching TV.
Yeah.
And I remember I would be watching like my cousins would come over and we'd all be hanging out at the house, but my cousins grew up in America. They're half Italian, half Lebanese.
Oh, cool,
So
okay.
like they're like American.
Yeah.
And so they'd be over and we'd put on like That's So Raven, or we'd put on like Lizzie McGuire, like whatever we were watching. And you know how they have like the laughter?
Yeah.
I like just like I would hear the laughter and be like, oh, something funny happens. Like,
Right.
but you know, with Disney Channel, it's like somebody could just do this,
Yeah.
and then they have ha 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 come behind you. So every time I'd hear laughter, I'm like, oh, something funny happened. I didn't understand English, so they'd go, the crowd in the show would laugh, and I'd be like, ah! And like nothing funny happened. You know
Right.
the Disney Channel shows. It's
Right,
like
right.
they laugh at stupid. She'd be like, dog nabbit, and they go ha ha, and like.
That was profanity on the Disney Channel. Was dog nabbit.
Dog nabbit. Those don't get a little nasty.
But that's so cool that like you had to use context and like figure out like like that.
When to laugh,
Right,
when
right.
to cry. I had it all wrong though.
That's
I
amazing.
had it all wrong.
Well, that is our last song. So Joe, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Why don't you tell us what you got coming up? You're an artist yourself.
I am, yeah.
And
So
do you have any new music or new songs or?
I'm working on this project. I never thought I'd release an EP this like early on in my career because I always like I've released 7 singles.
Yeah.
And I've just been wanting to like keep pushing singles as I grow.
Right.
And then I was like, I want to like release an EP once I feel like I've reached a certain level where it's like, oh, now I really want to share like something like as a whole.
Yeah.
But until then, I just want to keep like going out with singles and singles and singles
Right.
and singles, you know, like to keep like the excitement, the momentum going. And
It can be intimidating to release a collective like that. Sometimes.
it is so intimidating.
Yeah.
Like I've been working on it, so I decided to release an EP. My mom was diagnosed with cancer back in August, but she's now in remission.
Oh, that's amazing.
She's now in remission. Thank
Congratulations.
God.
I remember you
Thank
saying that at your show, and your
She's-
grandma was there too.
My grandma was
she
there.
She was killing it. She was loving the show more than
Oh,
anybody.
my grandma was like the best BGV out in the audience.
It was
which is so
amazing.
funny because when I was doing BGVs
Yeah.
for my song Body Talking,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was there with me and she was so mad. She was like, all wrong. She went downstairs for a cigarette break. She couldn't take it. But then in the audience, she was singing the BGVs she hated earlier. I was
know.
like, oh, you little bitch. But so I'm working on an EP because like something that I realized was like my family and I, like the beautiful thing about like whenever my mom was diagnosed with it,
Yeah.
like there was still this feeling of peace, which was so weird over
Yeah.
all of us. Like even our family in Lebanon, we talked to them, like they'd be like, I don't know why, but like I feel peace with this. Like everything's gonna be okay. This before we knew stage or anything. Everyone felt this peace. Everyone was positive. Everyone had so
Wow.
much faith. And I like thought about that, and I was like, obviously we all still had the times when we'd like, be in our own space and like have that anxiety and like the doubts and stuff. But overall, the general feeling was like peace, positivity, and faith.
Wow.
And something that I realized was there are so many people in this world that aren't fortunate enough to like be able to channel that.
Right.
And they go through trying times and they just like, they fall into this depressive state. And so I want to create something for my mom. This is before we knew she was in remission. I was like, I want something to uplift her, but I also want something to uplift other people. I want other people who are like going through something that's really trying to like hear this and be like, oh, I can make it through this. And so that's like what I've got coming up. April 3rd, the first single, Better Days, releases. And then it's me, Autumn by C, and Tony Chetta.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Do you know them?
Yeah.
She's an incredible writer. And he's an incredible writer-producer, and it's been such a blast working with him on this project.
That's amazing, Joe. Like, honestly, musical therapy, it's the way to...
It really is.
It's really selfless of you to kind of take everybody else into consideration, because an EP can be so personal, and the fact that you're thinking about other people, I think, really speaks to who you are as a person. I think that's really cool.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. Last question for you.
Ask
You
me.
have one of the best falsettos I've ever heard in my life. What kind of inspired you to, like, chase that, or who, like, do you kind of model it after? Is there anybody specifically?
I'm trying to think falsetto. I don't think so, but I will tell you this. When I was my best friend Sierra back home, I used to struggle a lot with my mixed voice.
Okay.
So, like, you have your chest voice where you can belt,
right.
But then if you want to hit, like, the really high notes and, like, a more belty voice, as a guy, you go into a mixed voice, because there's no way in hell you can belt that high in a chest voice, so you have to go into your mixed voice, not your falsetto, your mixed. In order to channel that mix, Sierra kept saying to me, she was like, just... if you can hit it really annoyingly, and even a vocal coach said this to me once.
Yeah.
But I remember Sierra was the first person that said it. She was like, if you can just like annoyingly, nasally hit the note in your head voice, it'll be easier to do in your chest voice and in your mixed voice. And I like never believed it. And then I tried it a few times. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so true. And so it's so funny because like now every time I'm like in the studio recording and I have to hit like a high note, like there's so many funny takes of me like sitting at the mic because you have to like get into that voice.
Right.
And it's so annoying and nasally and like it sounds ridiculous, but it's like it's somewhat of a warm up. And then I like literally just started doing that, and then I found my falsetto voice and I like started like working on that. And
there's so much power behind your falsetto. That's what sets it apart for me, is because anybody can kind of hit those notes, but the fact that you just project and like work your way through it is pretty
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again so much, seriously, for having me over on your beautiful porch and everything. But this was really fun.
Thank you
so much.
I'm glad you enjoyed my songs.
I did.
I'm glad you like them. What do you guys think of my songs? Which one is your favorite? Which one would you take off the list?
Playlist is
would
in
you
the
add
description. Well, that's Joe. I'm Jake. This is my mixtape. We'll see you later.
Say my